think even the industry
You want to rant about
and
that?
developers are now getting sick of this.
Uh-huh.
And I will bring up the picture here so you guys know. And on TikTok family, let me know. You Xbox or you PlayStation? And tell me why. I need to know that. Because I'm going to probably do a TikTok live during the week and we're just going to discuss on that and see where's everybody at. You know why? Because it's, we got the Xbox people and we got the PlayStation people, and they go back and forth being toxic as all hell. And usually the person that has both systems slides away from the battlefield because they're not going to choose sides. They got both. And that was their little cheap cop out.
Exactly.
Okay? But we have one console. We don't have the other. We'll respect the other, but we have one console.
Well, for me, it's like the Xbox doesn't have anything I want.
Okay, so the picture you have here is the Xbox Series S. Now, if you are obviously familiar, there's two versions of the next generation, which is the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. The S is a digital-only version and less powerful version of the Xbox Series X. The specs on the Xbox Series X on paper is better than the PlayStation 5. It sucks for me to say that, but it is. But then you have the S, which is, I'm not going to say underpowered, but it is less spec'd out. It doesn't hit native 4K. It's an upscale.
It still handles all their Xbox X titles and stuff like that.
Yes.
It still handles that.
Powered by behind-the-scenes cloud computing and less resolution and the like. But here's why. Yes, in its face, it's great. You can get the Xbox Series X and play Halo Infinite from the hardware.
You'll be able to play it cheaply because it is $100 cheaper.
Yes. Well, I'm talking about the X.
Oh, sorry.
So you get the Xbox Series X, you get your Halo Infinite, you get to play, but the person with the Xbox Series S can actually play the same exact game, and then it could be through the Game Pass, where you actually buy the game, but only digital, and it could still run. But here's the thing. Developers don't have a next generational type of game because they have to cater to two systems for every little game. To give you some history, okay, the PlayStation 1 came out, right? When the PlayStation 2 came out, it was PlayStation 2 games and those PlayStation 2 games, and that's it. There was nothing going down. Then
it was not like PS2 Plus or PS2 thing or anything like
then
that.
It was a PlayStation 3. And then they had, there was PlayStation 2 and Slim, but it was just by the Slim hardware. Nothing to do with games and backwards compatibility.
Yeah, exactly.
So PlayStation 3 came out. Everything's starting to get a little bit more sophisticated. The online's booming. The memberships and playing online multiplayer. So then now you got people that are trying to connect on the PlayStation 2, can they play PlayStation 3? That can't happen-ish. Whatever the case is, still wasn't a thing. PlayStation 4 came out. And that's where things started to blend in from both ecosystems.
Yeah, because
I think in that generation, they weren't trying to just still keep with the old school, new system, new games, that's it. So I think they catered to the audience, whereas a PlayStation 4 game would come out, but you can still play online with those on the PlayStation 3. Some games, not all. They had the same thing with the Xbox, right? The Xbox came out, the first ever one, boom, and they had their online, which is very successful, and everybody copied from there because that was a very great standalone.
What Xbox does right, and I will always admit this, is their online. They're
online. They did it right.
They know how to handle it.
They did it right.
Yeah.
They handled it well, and
they're still handling it well.
Yeah, yep, and they still are. 360 came out. Again, 360 games, Xbox games, two separate things. Xbox One came out, and they were trying to debate the same thing with the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. What about the games on the Xbox 360? Can I get it on the Xbox One? New games, new games, new games. And then now we're all the way up into the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, and then you still got those same games on the previous generation. Some of them you can play online still, but here's the thing. Graphically is not the case, and now with the PlayStation 5 and the developers, some of them are PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, but they built it on the PlayStation 5, and if it doesn't make it a PS4, guess what? It's probably not going to go on the PlayStation 4. The experience you just said was Silent Hill 2 remake, only PlayStation 5 exclusive. God of War Ragnarok, is that both?
That's
PlayStation 5.
No, it comes out for the PS4 too.
So see those main titles will come out, and I think those are their first party like studios, so they could get away with it per se, you know.
But Silent Hill, that's 100% PS5, and that's it.
But here's why I'm mentioning this generational boring hoopla. It's because developers now are getting sick of a next generation system that they're mandated to make it for, that doesn't have the specs of a next generation game. They want to bring their skills and put it out and make it look as best as possible. The best of the best, creme of the creme, the cream of the crop.
Well, of course, they want to make sure people want to buy it. They want to sell it.
And they can't do that because they have to meet certain requirements that could cater to the S as well, which hinders their development and their kits and whatever the case may be.
That's crazy.
That is like a stalemate. So now they're trying to see if maybe Microsoft will ditch the S. Highly doubt it.
No, they're not gonna do that.
But they could get away with just keeping it as a hub. Remember how the Xbox they shown off the dongle for the TV?
Oh, so they could keep it as just a Game Pass only thing.
Big ass dongle.
Which is stupid. Because
which is dumb.
I'm not gonna have. If I'm gonna get just Game Pass only, I'll rather get the small thing instead of that big ass thing just right there.
But I think it's gonna have no choice because if these developers are pitching and bitching, and they end up getting fed up. The Xbox needs to cater to the developers of the games that they want for their systems, including Game Pass.
Yeah, Xbox
every game has to blend with the S.
Yeah,
like there's no from the ground up Xbox Series X, even if they tell you that is not the case.
Yeah, because they can't be pissing off. Xbox can't be pissing off their developers because Xbox been buying a lot of developers and stuff like that. And if you start pissing them off, especially like things like Bethesda, where they could only have their games on Xbox, and then you're pissing them off because you're not letting them be the best that they can be.
Now,
that's not going to be good.
Now think about all these other games that are coming out. Redfall,
Starfield.
Starfield's going to be on the Xbox Series S too. It's supposed to be amazing. But what if the S requirement wasn't there? It would have been amazinger, if that makes sense. It doesn't make any sense, but you know where
I get what you're talking about.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I know those are the two major ones coming out now. And obviously there's Elder Scrolls 6 whenever they decide to make
behind the scenes. This could be the reason why some of these things are pushed back.
Because of that?
It could be. We don't hear it. Maybe it's a strong NDA because of these big titles are big money.
Once you're stuck on an NDA, you can't say anything or you get sued off the butt.
Yeah, so maybe that is one because this doesn't make. I mean, Halo Infinite is already a case where they kind of lied to us. It's almost like a silent cyberpunk deal. But when it comes to this random 2 games that were just randomly pushed out for a whole nother year, and then they give their little excuse. I don't buy it. Something behind the scenes is not happening. Give them time, or if they had time, why did you show it off in the first place? Like it just. So they were mad, and they're getting mad. So we're going to see what Xbox is going to do. Exactly. They could get rid of that.
Well, right now they're in the process of trying to complete their deal, so they're probably focusing on that right now.
I'm going to say this: if they behind the scenes get rid of the development requirement for the S, more than likely you're going to see a huge push of only Xbox Series X. And the S will be discontinued, and it will end up becoming a small subwoofer looking.
Won't that piss off people?
Dongle for Game Pass.
Won't that piss off people who have bought their S?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's gonna piss people off.
Absolutely, that's my prediction. Though that's something that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because if you piss off a developer and there's a requirement, you're withholding talent to be outputted on Series X. Because worst case scenario is going to go right to PlayStation. If you think about it.
Well, no, don't they? Well, since Xbox bought
any game, I'm talking about like for Microsoft to buy Activision and they have to deal with it. That's gonna suck. They're gonna have to do something. But I'm talking about like if there's a third party that wants to come out on both platforms, then they can.
Because that makes sense. Yeah.
Why go through all that hassle and port something? You know what I mean? Like the only way they can get away with it is streaming on the Game Pass, which makes sense. So get rid of the development, and every game that comes out, build it from the ground up with Xbox Series X, and let Xbox run their service to run it on Game Pass, and use the Xbox Series S as a Game Pass hub.
Man, that's gonna
so if you can't get a brand new Samsung TV, then guess what? You can go get yourself an Xbox Series S and run your Game Pass catalog from there. Which, mind you, is a rotating. It's not you don't own it.
Exactly, because it rotates all the time.
Not to mention the developers aren't going to get paid that much anyway. Don't you think they want to put out their best product and put it out so people can own it?
With a full price title of $70 or $60, whatever it is.
You would think so. That's the most logical thing to think about, right?
Exactly. That is crazy.
Yeah, that was one thing that really caught me. I was just like, oh snap! Now it's internal. Now people are getting pissed.
So this happened
a few days ago. So we'll see if there's any updates within the week. But that is something I want to touch on because that's not not in good taste.
Not
Let's just put it
at
that way.